Goodwill thrift shop workers, what are some of the strangest things you've found in the donations? Not me but my cousin. In a big dump of stuff found an entire box of dildos. Like, all kinds. From vibrator ones to ones clearly made from specific molds. In this box of absurdity was one with like 30 condoms on it. Weirdest shit I ever saw. OFC they threw them away. My aunt's a cop and had to go investigate a donated hand grenade. Used journals. Highlights include someone recounting the time they bit someone. And a tale of an explosive funeral. They make for a good read. But why wouldn't you throw them out? Decluttering. I threw a journal from my adolescence in the bin. The journal that graphically described my first period at age 11. 14 crushes ranked in order of cussability. Mortifying youth group tales. Detailed sketches of my fantasy elf wardrobe. Dark times I'd rather not remember. Well, my packrat dad couldn't stand to see a half-full journal on the curb, so he donated it to a thrift store. Apparently, because later, someone contacted him by mail to return it. Thanks dad. Thanks stranger. So glad to have that back. Not something I've found particularly, but something very strange. Every month and a half or so, a man would come by right before we closed and would donate a single blank CD. Every single time. My co-workers and I would always put it in and see if anything was on it. There never was. A high school diploma still in its leather case. We were selling it for $1.39. Also a porn movie inside a Clifford the Big Red Dog DVD case. I really wanna make a big red dog joke, but I'm not sure of the best way to phrase it. A classmate of mine found a human skull that was donated. It still had remnants of human on it. They reported it to the police and turns out it was part of an active murder investigation one state over. Was doing community service at a Goodwill. A Vietnamese guy pulls up, drops off a couple trash bags and dips. We start looking through it all and I find a full 90 bottle of 10mg oxycodone pills. So how was the rest of your week? I've found a ton of weird stuff. The old ladies I worked with called stuffed animals stuffies. I always thought it was strange. Well, one day we get a big box 2x2 labeled stuffies. They opened it up and it was full of dildos, butt plugs, handcuffs, all kind of sex toys. I've never heard so much hootin' and hollerin' in my life. Sounded like a pack of coyotes. Edit. I also found a VHS tape of Lost in Space when I was talking to a coworker. Pulled out the tape and 70 cash fell out. Maybe someone forgot about their hiding place. Thanks for the silver, homie. I didn't know they literally meant stuffies. I was 16 and in charge of going through donations, pricing them, and putting them out for sale. I came across something I didn't recognize, so I did what I always did and slapped 0.25 on it and put it out. A few hours later a lady brought it back to my boss in the donation room and told her we shouldn't be selling crack pipes. Oops. I was a stocker, not working directly with donations. But goddamn, so many people donate vibrators. All the way from top of the line Hitachi magic wands to retro lil metal things that look like a Wiimote. I worked there for a few years, one in AZ and one in OR. An urn with someone's cremated remains. Happened probably 3 times. Someone once tried to donate live roosters. A little ornate box with about 7 teeth inside. A crochet jockstrap with I guess what you'd call a cock warmer. So many unique dildos. A Ziploc baggie full of mice bones and fur tufts. Some nerds like 50 Maul Sword Dagger collection. A 80 cereal collection. Bill Ted, Count Chocula, Ghostbusters, etc. Roughly 3 full hefty bags of Grateful Dead live shows on cassette, each labeled and track listed. Shoebox of prison letters to a girlfriend. Shit was raunchy. Also a big shout out fuck you to the junkie shitlords who have dirty needles mixed in with the items they donate. When I was about 16 I worked at Goodwill for about 6 months. There was this old homeless man who used to try and sneak inside to sleep and stuff like that. Every day he'd get kicked out pretty quick by one of my female co-workers. After about 1 month of working there with her, The homeless man came up to the counter she was working at, gave her a Target bag filled with rocks, and left. We opened the bag and find a doll underneath about a layer of rocks. It was so friggin' creepy. The doll looked exactly like her. We flipped it over and the back had her full name sewn into it. She quit about a couple days later because she was worried about that homeless man coming back to the store. Someone donated an entire trash bag full of dirty diapers. Sex toys. Lots of sex toys. Some older and more naive workers actually priced them and put them in the sales floor. An old electronic chessboard that was somehow worth over $2,000. Some rich old lady came in and donated a Ziploc bag full of gold and platinum jewelry. It was real. Huge Beanie Baby collections. Guess someone finally figured out after 20 years that they weren't a solid investment. It's something you hear about but I never really saw before. Maybe not the strangest, but you actually do find some cool old shit people think is worthless. Cool job for a while. I was so naive when I started working at a thrift shop, thinking everyone was playing jokes on me. That was until I opened a box with a gimp suit in it, along with a few toys. But over the 5 years I worked there I saw it all. Sex toys, cum-stained lingerie, ashes, weapons, got a box of someone's personal files. It was all her records for plastic surgery with her credit card details and SIN number. Everything. The most memorable moment was when a very elderly worker priced a huge bong as a vase and put it out on the sales floor. I heard some kid was really happy to buy it for $3, the cashier told everyone after he sold it. Yay, people just don't care sometimes. We have seen a moving truck come with grandma's house basically packed up in it and dropped off to us besides the jewelry box. Family photos, everything. We found a 9K ring in the pocket of a jacket from that one and more jewelry stashed in clothing pocket. Shows the family never even looked. Something I can contribute to. In college I was one of the people that directly sorted donations. I've seen it all. Vibrators, boxes of dildos, a nunchuck collection to name a few. On more than one occasion have we found large amounts of money stashed away in hollowed out books. Usually 1,000 in new bills. The one story that sticks out the most was this middle-aged man who consistently came on Saturday evenings to donate used underwear. Bags and bags of men's used underwear. For almost 3 months straight. Then suddenly he just stopped. He got caught murdering all the owners of the underwear. I worked in donations. In the same day we got a pickled baby tiger shark and a coin purse made from a kangaroo scrotum. My sister's boyfriend worked in a small charity shop in Tottenham. They sold a vase for $8 that was unpolished and assumed to be copper. Turned out it was solid gold worth $500,000. My mom used to work for Goodwill. She's found rather neat items. One time she found $5,000 in someone's old jeans. She was kind enough to return that to its rightful owner by looking into who donated the items. And she found a hand grenade in an old jacket. One day a Russian lady came in with about 6 gorgeous evening gowns. She kept saying to us that she'd had them since she was young. When she lived in Russia, that they were high-end designer dresses. We couldn't read the tag. From my own knowledge of sewing dressmaking, I can tell you these things were exquisite. I was working with the books, but I managed to get a good look at them and the seams were breathtakingly neat. Hand embellished with beads, crystals, hand embroidered details on some. They'd clearly been taken well care of too, as the colors weren't faded or discolored. And she'd even brought them to the shop in garment bags. She said she'd brought them in because she was well past wearing them. I think she was in her 60s. They certainly wouldn't fit her. And she wanted some young woman to get to experience the joy of wearing them. These dresses were fucking gorgeous, y'all. Unfortunately I left before they were taken out of the back room into the shop, so I never saw who bought them. They were probably bought as Deb's dresses in the end. A bit late to the party. I posted this before so I'll just copy and paste it. I worked at Goodwill for a short time. It wasn't exactly a cool thing we couldn't sell, but nevertheless it was a funny story. One of my fellow employees was telling me about how someone donated a piece of wood. Or I should say left a piece of wood. As a joke she put a price tag on it for $10,000 and said it was a piece from Noah's Ark. Strangely enough, Someone seriously believed it and wanted to buy it. Needless to say, management wasn't happy and quickly removed it and threw it away. I worked at a new and used bookstore in Memphis. Sometimes people would just donate loads of books. A Bible came in one day which looked like it was 100 years old. An expert looked at it and turned out it was bound in human skin. Bookstore donated it to the library. A drawing I had made years before and left around in school. In a book I never owned. While vacationing in a different country. Yes, I'm sure it was my drawing. Every few months, we'll get a load of unclaimed airport luggage. Amongst the crap we found tons of fancy Japanese and Korean snack foods, entire cartons of cigarettes, and opened bottles of top shelf liquor, IDs and passports. But the weirdest thing to us is when someone donates like 50 pairs of pants the exact same size. Or tons of the same shirt but in different colors. Just why? Why so many? And what happened to this person? My personal favorite was an old ass copy of Star Trek, the game show. Not a Goodwill, but the library I worked at had a donation bin where people could drop off books to give to the library. The strangest thing we ever got was a package of beef. It was warm and thankfully still in its packaging, but all of the staff in the library could not figure out what possessed someone to drop off room temperature meat in the donation bin. Going through a batch of clothes, all in hangers and wrapped in plastic, found a black and field grey German SS uniform.